Hello and welcome back to an episode of Generation Films. My name is American Ben, and today we're going to discuss the best home planets in science fiction. Now, in my view, a planet's strength isn't only measured in terms of firepower and shields, though those are important. But no, its safety, security, and ultimate persistence depends on a broader question. That is, how well it complements the biological and learned attributes of its native population. A strong home planet is set up both in terms of its natural environment and artificial structures to ensure that the population living upon it can thrive in all ways. Given these parameters, there may be some surprising omissions from this list that are due to an otherwise terrific home planet having a fatal flaw or two. Asgard, the home of the Asgardians, is also not on this list. Why? Because in a universe full of might and magic, where powerful goddesses capable of restoring life to the dead roam the cosmos, the Asgardians were brilliant enough to bury an entire army of their deceased soldiers beneath Asgard's surface, and one thing led to another, the Thor zombies came and went, and the planet is no more. Get it? Cool. Let's begin. In 7th place, we have the Sense Sphere from Doctor Who, the home planet of the Sensorites, a telepathic humanoid race whose members were the precursors to modern-day cuckolds and the Blue Man Group. The Sensorites were sensitive to loud noise and were afraid of the dark as their eyes couldn't adjust to low light, leaving them blind at night. Thus, they were a vulnerable species and needed a quality homeworld that was capable of keeping them safe. Enter the Sense Sphere, a rocky planet located in the Mutter's Spiral Galaxy and the place where the Sensorites set up shop. The Sense Sphere had a fluid interior, meaning it was constantly changing, and it did so in reaction to the collective thoughts of the Sensorites. In other words, the Sensorites had a symbiotic relationship with their home planet, and visitors entering into the Sense Sphere's atmosphere were, in a way, entering into the Sensorites' collective mind, where just about anything was possible. That said, this planet is still last on this list because if the Sensorites did corner an enemy on their own land, said enemy could just yell at them and scare them away. In 6th place, we have Catachan from Warhammer 40k, the home planet of the Catachan jungle fighters of the Imperium of Man's ground force, the Imperial Guard. Now, yes, this is not a planet you probably expected to see on this list because it's one of those homeworlds that's, well, a living hell. Katachan is a death world, which is the Imperium's term for a planet that is too dangerous to allow for widespread human settlement. Nonetheless, humans did settle it to a limited degree many millennia ago, and the relatively small population that remains there in the 42nd millennium is composed of some of, if not the strongest warriors in the entire Milky Way galaxy. Why are they so tough? Well, as I said, their home environment is deadly. It's covered in dense jungle within which roams all sorts of ferocious killer beasts. As a matter of fact, 50% of Katachan's human population does not make it past infancy. I imagine some of you are going to accuse me here of being a hypocrite, as similarly dangerous worlds made our worst home planets list the other day. That may be true. However, I have to consider a home planet's respective universe when gauging its strengths. Warhammer 40k's vision of the Milky Way galaxy features ubiquitous death, much of which happens to humans at the hands of far more powerful Xenos. Catachan may be one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy, but it's also perhaps the strongest and hardest to breach. Almost all of the flora and fauna on the planet pose a threat to invading life. The world cannot be overtaken by hostile forces because no hostile force can survive it, save for the Necrons, who are napping all the time anyway. And the native people there who do survive its fatal environs are none but the most formidable soldiers in the Imperium, with some of them perhaps even able to outlast space marines in battle. Speaking of planets that are nearly impossible to invade, in 5th place we have Kronos, the homeworld of the Klingons. This is probably another planet you're surprised to see on this list because, well, it's comparatively primitive and bleak. However, what makes this planet such a good choice for the Klingons is that its environment is inhospitable to anyone who isn't raised to cherish pain and suffering as Klingons are. Kronos has been described as a planet of caves, as a subterranean volcano system connected by caves runs throughout the planet. Like the jungle for the Katachan jungle warriors, the caves on Kronos provide the Klingons with a sizable home field advantage. It's inconceivable that an invading general would be able to execute a competent war campaign on the planet, especially because not only could the Klingons take to their caves if attacked, but additionally the planet's dense upper atmosphere prevents foreign armies from being able to conduct sufficient long-range analysis of the planet's surface. Starfleet spent hundreds of years in want of basic information about Kronos' topographical features, and remained short of reliable knowledge of its territory, and thus any outsider entering through its atmosphere would be going in blind. And if that outsider is Geordi LaForge, he'll be leaving that way as well. Simply put, invading armies would be trying to take on the likes of an entire species of Kevin McAllisters at Kevin's house. Big no-no. In fourth place, we have my Thrillia from the Halo universe, the adopted homeworld of the Forerunners, an ancient advanced alien race in the capital of the Forerunner Empire. Maithrillian was less a planet and more a massive, sophisticated artificial structure comprising a series of spiraling circular platforms that wrapped around a central rod as they ascended, and within which was housed a supremely powerful precursor construct known as Abaddon, the precursors being an even more ancient advanced alien race than the Forerunners. Abaddon was basically a powerful artificial intelligence that was capable of granting its wielder near omnipotence. It could vaporize enemies, interface with Forerunner tech, and even create organic versions of mechanical constructs for use in warfare. Though only the highest-ranking Forerunners knew about Abaddon, that it was contained at the heart of Maithrillian made the megastructure sort of invincible. That said, AI is always vulnerable to rampancy, so Abaddon wasn't a sure bet to work in the Forerunners' favor forever. However, Maithrillian's place on this list is secure because of its more practical defense mechanisms. As it was an artificial structure, it was equipped from top to bottom with nearly impenetrable energy shields, and in the event of an attack could even rotate its various sections to form a spherical shape, thus shielding its internal structures from damage. In third place, we have Xelaya from the Orville, the home planet of the Xelayans, an erudite humanoid species who played an important role in the planetary Union. Xelaya was one of the most beautiful planets in the Union. It had sprawling modern cities rife with advanced technology, as well as a variety of idyllic natural terrain. However, the reason Xelaya made for such a strong home planet is that it had a gravitational pull far greater than the planetary average, and because of this, Xelayans, and probably their dogs too, had tremendous physical strength relative to species from other worlds who, when visiting Xelaya, could only survive by using special environmental suits and gravity shields. Thus, despite being an intellectual species that was focused on learning, Xelayans were physically imposing and durable. Their skin was actually resistant enough to stop bullets. However, their physical gifts were not enough to prevent alcoholism, which threatens to bring down their entire civilization. Seriously. In second place, we have Pandora from Avatar, the fifth moon of the gas giant Polyphemus, and the home world of the Na'vi, a blue, feline-esque, tall humanoid species. Now, this planet almost makes this list just based on the fact that most of their wildlife glows in the dark. That's just super cool. And I've been trying to accomplish the same with my dog by applying luminous paint to its fur, and I've now been bitten 6 times. Because by dog, I mean Ewok. But I digress. Pandora makes this list because of the psychic connection the planet shares with its native life. It's basically a giant organic internet platform. Pandora's plant life has developed electrochemical bonds between its roots, which run across the planet to form a collective sentient intelligence known by the Na'vi as Awa, a mostly mysterious entity that can be defined both as a brain and as a deity. The Na'vi too can connect to Awa via their neuroconductive antennae and thus exert intimate control over their surroundings. And indeed, we see how adeptly, almost psychically, the Na'vi control the plants and wildlife on Pandora. And as all of Awa's workings are not fully understood and the connections Pandorans have to this strange entity are often posited as partly spiritual in nature, I think it's fair to say that the Na'vi are concretely connected to and in communication with their own god. Thus, trying to conquer the Na'vi on their home planet is a fruitless endeavor. They'll just pray their enemies to death and their allies back to life in giant blue bodies. Finally, in first place, we have Komora from Warhammer 40k, the homeworld, though technically a massive city-state, of the Dark Eldar, the sadistic and corrupted kin of their more noble brethren, the Craftworld Eldar. Komora, also known as the Dark City, is a truly impenetrable and unfathomable base. It lies within the Webway, an extra-dimensional space that comprises a series of complex tunnels which connect through, albeit sealed off from, the warp, itself an extra-dimensional domain best known to 40k stands as Hell. Given Komorah's semi-metaphysical locus and the total futility that defines efforts to traverse both the warp and the webway, or even access either without dying, the Dark City provides the most inaccessible and concealed home base to its malevolent inhabitants than perhaps any other planet in all of science fiction does. Actually, Komora isn't even a single place. Its scope is not measurable, and its boundaries not discernible, because its total landscape is composed of a diffuse collection of satellite realms positioned across the galaxy, which are linked together by innumerable portals and other secret pathways that function to unite the Dark Eldar's world with an illusion of singularity. And within this boundless, amorphous world hides a Drukhari population that exceeds in number the populations of some entire star systems. One could easily imagine that were an army to miraculously figure its way into Komora, they would yet be left doomed, as the way in would no longer be the way out, and so too would hordes of the most wicked and violent beasts imaginable descend upon the lost and bewildered troops. Anyways, that's my list. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do give the video a big thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments below what I got wrong, what I got right, what I left out completely. Remember to subscribe to this channel and hit that damn notification bell so you don't miss a damn thing. For now, my name is American Ben, and I'll catch you next time. Generation Films, peace.